What up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking to you about sleep and the importance of sleep in our entrepreneurial journey. Okay, a lot of us kind of throw sleep to the side and say, you know what, I'll get it after I make it. But I want to make some pretty compelling arguments for why sleep is going to be the reason that you make it that much faster. So I actually believe that sleep puts you on the fast track for success. So here we go. I want to tell you my personal story, and then I'll give you some research to back up some of this stuff that I'm going to be talking to you about. So first of all, I want to tell you my story about my whole paradigm around sleep. You see, I remember when I was about a month or two after graduation, I was living at my parents' house and I was looking for motivation. I was on my computer and I was looking to start my first company. And I stumbled across Arnold Schwarzenegger's 6 Rules to Success on YouTube. And Arnold told me, sleep faster. He said if you're not sleeping 6 hours or less, then you need to just sleep faster. And so when I heard this, I was like, dang, well, Arnold's like the picture of success. The guy who came to America with nothing and has lived the American dream. So I should be listening to this dude, right? And after I got deeper and deeper into the startup world and hanging out with more entrepreneurs, I noticed that it became really celebrated to be that person who is skipping out on sleep, that guy or girl who pulled that all-nighter, and that person who was sacrificing their health for their business. You know, it's something that we really tend to celebrate. And, for me, I did see a lot of successful people who were passing up on sleep, but they weren't necessarily the happiest people. And I think that's definitely a balance as well. But I also do believe that we can get to where we're trying to go faster by optimizing our sleep. And so instead of just kind of taking this all at face value, I did for a while just try to deprive myself of sleep, and I just didn't function as well. I'll talk to you more about that later. But in general, I just, I really bought into this whole idea that, yeah, if I want to be successful, I need to substitute work for sleep. And after a while, I started to question this paradigm a little bit and think to myself, well, I don't know how well this is working. Let me check the science. Let me find out, is this the most optimal I could be functioning? And, science tells us no. Science tells us that we can be better functioning, happier entrepreneurs, business owners by getting more sleep. And so the Sleep Foundation has done a lot of research on the optimal amount of hours sleep, and we don't actually have the exact amount of hours that we should be sleeping. It varies from person to person. So you can't say there's a magic number, because some of us are just blessed, like Arnold, and can sleep 6 hours and feel great and be completely recharged, energized, and ready to roll. But many of us, the majority of us, are going to need more, especially if you're growing your business and it's very high stress. You're going to need a lot more. So I'll tell you some of the research out here right now. So some research done recently by the Department of Health Studies at the University of Chicago showed that there wasn't much of a difference between people who were sleeping too much versus people who were getting, between, around 7, 8 hours of sleep. So people who were sleeping more than that, there wasn't a lot of negative side effects. But the people who were sleeping 6 hours or less got a ton of negative physiological and neurobehavioral consequences. So essentially that means people's bodies and minds were not functioning as optimally as they could be. And that probably sounds familiar to a lot of you business owners, entrepreneurs. People are grinding to really make their dreams come true, because we do spend, 15 hours straight working and then eat, and then another 3 hours or 4 hours, and end up only, sleeping for 4 or 5 hours a night sometimes, especially when you have deadlines. So that just goes to show you, though, I'll get into it deeper, some of the negative side effects of skipping out on sleep, but just quickly mention there's a lot of negative side effects sleeping less than 6 hours that we've seen. So I really want to touch upon the fact that we are all unique human beings. And so, as I said before, some people need 6 hours, some people need 8, some people need 9, and also is going to depend on what your consistent sleep levels are like. So we have a thing called a sleep bank. And so you actually can make up sleep, but if you were depriving yourself and you're going, 4 hours a night, 5 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours, then you will probably need eventually to crash to get some of those banked hours back and sleep for 10, 11 hours. It is a real thing. So sometimes you do need that. So what I would recommend to do though, to really figure out how to optimize your sleep, is do a little mini experiment on yourself. And I've kind of done this myself. Go 2 weeks sleeping 6 hours, 2 weeks sleeping 7, 8, 9, so it will take you like 8 weeks total, and track how you felt waking up every day and then halfway through your day and then before going to sleep at night, and see, you know, where your energy levels are at, where your perceived happiness is, and anything else you want to notice, and really try to find your sweet spot, because maybe you don't need as much, maybe you're oversleeping, maybe you're not sleeping enough. But if you can go 8 weeks and you can kind of figure this out and find your sweet spot, then for the rest of your life, you're just going to know how to function optimally with sleep. So I really want to get back in now quickly and talking about why it matters to sleep more and why we really can't afford to deprive ourselves of sleep. See, a lot of this research is telling us that when we deprive ourselves of sleep, we are going to experience decrease in moods, decreases in overall performance, alertness, so we're getting dumber. So those hours that you're actually spending working late night are not going to be as optimal, and so you might as well be sleeping, honestly, because I don't really see the point in just half-assing a work session, you know? And if you want to get more into like the health effects of not sleeping, I mean, not sleeping enough has been linked to obesity and depression and heart disease and all kinds of awful things. And I think a big thing as well is just like the mood you're in. Like through my 30-day challenge I did with myself, where I was tracking my energy and perceived happiness, I looked at, you know, the correlation between the sleep I had and my energy and happiness. And every time I was just a happier person. I was a more energetic person when I got, you know, 7 to 8 hours versus 6 or 5 or 4. So that was really illuminating for me and kind of contributed to why I wanted to share this with you guys. I had my own self-experimentation, and then I went and did the research. I was like, oh yeah, it's all here, of course, yeah. But I know it sounds common sense, but most of us don't really realize how much science is based around the fact that we are dumber when we're not sleeping enough. So it's really not worth it to work when we're sleep deprived. Because you have to ask yourself, would you rather have 15 to 16 hours of energized, productive wakefulness, or 18 to 19 hours of wakefulness where you're in a bad mood and your energy levels are dropping? It's a no-brainer. You just gotta get that sleep in. I really think being a successful entrepreneur is all about working smarter rather than harder. So this is a perfect example of doing so. Find out what your optimal amount of sleep is. You find your sweet spot. Find the time to go to sleep, recharge your battery, and get back on your sleep grind. If you want to be an early riser at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., then go to sleep at 9, 10, 11 at night. It's just something that I think is very important, and we celebrate in the entrepreneurial community so much people who pull those all-nighters and neglect their sleep. But I wanted to be that guy who raises his hand and goes, hey guys, there's a lot of research that says like we're actually dumber when we don't sleep. So I hope this was helpful for you guys, because it's a very common sense type thing, but there's just incredible effects that getting proper sleep will have on your body and your mind, your overall happiness. And I do believe that participating in enough sleep is going to put you on the fast track to achieving your goals in the timely manner that you want to achieve them. All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. And don't forget to subscribe and check out the website, entrepreneurfitness.com. Subscribe over there. I'll hit you with a lot more cool research on things that are going to help you optimize for your health and overall well-being and performance as an entrepreneur and business owner.